President Biden heading to Hawaii today, nearly 2 weeks after the deadly wildfire engulfed parts of the island, killing at least 114 people and at least 1,000 are still missing. So President Biden releasing the statement. Jill and I are eager to meet with the brave first responders in Lahaina and witness firsthand what will be required for the community to recover. We'll be here for as long as it takes. Well, that's going to be a day, to be clear. The president has been vacationing in Lake Tahoe. He's staying at billionaire and climate investor Tom Steyer's $18 million mansion. The Bidens are paying, by the way, rent for that. RNC Research Center writing on X, quote, Biden has spent 374 days, 39.7% of his presidency on vacation. Joining me now, Florida Congresswoman Cammack. She's a member of the House Agricultural Committee, Energy Committee, and Select Committee on the Weaponization of Government. Congresswoman, good morning to you. So 2 weeks after we get the infamous no comment when the president was asked about, I don't know, the death and destruction in Maui, now he's going for the day. Your thoughts?
Well, Cheryl, I think he's about 2 weeks late and 2 vacations short of an appropriate response for the devastation and heartbreaking scenes that we're seeing coming out of Maui. In fact, I think at this point in time, maybe we should start referring to him as commander of the cabana rather than commander-in-chief. Keep in mind that 2 years ago, around this time, as Afghanistan was being gift wrapped for the Taliban and we had 13 new Gold Star families created, unfortunately, he was on vacation. And of course, last year in December, as a $1.7 trillion government funding bill needed to be signed, where did they have to fly it private to? Oh, St. Croix. He was on vacation. And now as Maui has burned and we have over 100 dead and 1,000+ missing, guess what? He's still on vacation. It's a real slap in the face to hardworking Americans who are dealing with an economy teetering on the edge, an open border that has overrun communities. And let us not forget the 300 people that we're losing every single day to fentanyl poisoning as a result of our open borders.
The open borders, sure. But Congressman, I want to circle back on something because you're on House Energy. I have to ask you about this. So much of the discussion about Maui right now is the fact that the electric grid, the power lines there, were in need of repair. There had been 2 reports that had told the company there that the power lines were in jeopardy, and because of climate change and because of the environment, they had let all of that brush grow up around the power lines. They didn't want to do any controlled burns on the island, and then we ended up with a tinderbox and children dead and homes destroyed, lives destroyed. Can you comment on that, please?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've actually been talking about this since these horrible fires have been breaking out. I mean, this is where the climate czars, the climate is burning down, people get it wrong. They think that maintenance and prescription burning is bad, when in fact it actually is a way for us to maintain some of the sanity in the discussions. You look at California, who has had raging wildfires for years as a result of the lack of prescription burning that it's just been ignored. Had they actually done what they were supposed to do and been allowed to, they would not have had this terrible of a situation, is my sense. But again, it's the climate crazies that want to say that type of maintenance is not a good thing for the environment, when in fact it actually we can avoid so much of these horrible situations as a result.
Because we cannot ignore that we need electricity, we still need coal, we still need oil, we need these things, and if you don't maintain those systems, this is what happens. This is when you're so focused on renewables that you ignore the needs of today. Renewables are maybe in 10, 20 years, fine, not today, and I think it's heartbreaking. Anyway, I want to move on to what's happening back here at stateside anyway. The Department of Justice reportedly had no plans to charge Hunter Biden with either tax or gun crimes. Lawyers for the IRS, Congresswoman, these whistleblowers told the New York Times that Attorney David Weiss, who is now Biden's special counsel, would not have brought the charges if the whistleblowers didn't speak out. And then we're learning that Hunter Biden's legal team once vowed to put President Biden on the stand during trial. And there's these documents that Politico obtained that show Hunter's former attorney saying if a sitting president testifies, that would cause a constitutional crisis. And that's what led to this crazy plea deal, which, to be clear, the judge threw out, Congresswoman.
Yeah, I mean, this is just nuts. We are watching a two-tier justice system play out in real time. If your last name is Biden, the law does not apply to you. And thank goodness that judge had enough sense to throw out that sweetheart plea deal that he never should have been eligible for in the first place. Let us put aside for a second all of the interference and sidestepping that the legal team he had was doing with the DOJ. So I think it's a bit hypocritical, actually a lot hypocritical, of the Biden White House to say that they're tough on crime and tough on guns, but it's okay that Hunter Biden lies on a background check. I think it's ridiculous that they want everyone to pay their quote unquote fair share, but then Hunter Biden doesn't pay his $1 million plus tax bill 6 years in a row, and that's okay. And now we have a special counsel who was friends and worked with Hunter Biden's brother, Beau, in the early 2000s. Where does the collusion stop? Where does this end? Because I can tell you, the American people are quickly losing faith in this government because of the two-tier justice system, because of the collusion, because of the collaboration of these entities to protect the Biden family at all costs. Something's got to give, and it's got to give soon.
Well, you know, Jim Jordan is actually subpoenaing the Justice Department and the FBI for documents on communications on big tech collusion. He's subpoenaing Citibank for documents for weaponization select subcommittee's investigation into these major banks that shared Americans' private financial data with the FBI without legal process. You are a part of that, Congresswoman. Can you comment on that before you go, please?
Yeah, absolutely. As we continue our investigations into the industrial censorship complex, along with the collusion of the Biden White House and the social media companies, we're getting more and more information of just how far and wide this goes. We know that Citibank voluntarily, without warrants, turned over banking data to the FBI. That right there should be a big red flag to everyone that due process only matters if you are, in fact, part of the Biden administration, and meaning that you are the target. If you are not affiliated, a major donor, well, then guess what? You're just out of luck, and your constitutional rights will be violated at all costs. This is very, very big news that the banking establishment is in connection with the DOJ and the FBI investigating and turning over documents without due process. That is a violation of our constitutional rights. That's what we're continuing to uncover. And we're going to learn more as we continue these investigations so that we can ultimately stop this type of behavior.
Well, we are certainly tracking several of your committee assignments. We're always glad when you join us here on the program, Congresswoman. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Cheryl. Have a great week, everybody.
All right,